Be honest. Have you ever laid in bed at night, staring at the ceiling, completely exhausted, but your mind just wouldn't shut off? One small moment, one tiny mistake, one simple conversation, and somehow your brain turns it into something massive, something heavy, something that sits on your chest and doesn't let you breathe. Nothing actually happened, but you've already imagined the worst possible outcome over and over again, and without even realizing it. The biggest enemy in your life isn't your circumstances, it isn't other people. It's your own mind. And the scariest part is, you think you're in control, you think you're being careful, smart, prepared, but in reality, you're slowly destroying your present while trying to protect your future. This is the story of Ryan. But if you're really paying attention, it might feel a lot like your own story. Ryan was just a normal guy, nothing special, nothing extraordinary, just an average life. College, friends, scrolling on his phone, small dreams about doing something bigger someday. Everything looked fine on the outside, but inside, there was a silent habit growing stronger every day: overthinking. At first, it was small, harmless even. Someone replied late and he thought, did I say something wrong? A teacher ignored him and he thought, maybe I'm not good enough. Someone criticized him and suddenly it became, what if I never succeed? And slowly, these weren't just thoughts anymore. They became his identity. He started seeing himself through the lens of doubt. And that's where things start to break. Because once your thoughts become your identity, your reality starts shrinking. Ryan's mind was always racing ahead, 10 steps into the future, imagining every possible failure. What if I mess up? What if people laugh? What if I embarrass myself? And maybe you do this too. And if you do, pause for a second and ask yourself, how many of those worst-case scenarios actually came true? Probably almost none. And yet, your mind keeps feeding you fear because it thinks it's protecting you. But there's a difference between protection and prison. And Ryan didn't realize when his mind stopped protecting him and started trapping him, he began overanalyzing everything, every decision, every opportunity, until he stopped making decisions at all. And that's where the real damage begins, not when you fail, but when you don't even try. One day, Ryan got an opportunity, a competition, something that could have pushed him forward. His friends told him, just try, you've got this. And for a moment, he believed it. But then his mind kicked in. What if I fail? What if I freeze on stage? What if people judge me? What if I look stupid? And those what ifs became louder than his potential. So he made a decision. I'm not going to do it. He told himself it was the smart choice, that staying safe was better than taking risks. But what he didn't realize was he didn't just miss a competition. He broke his own confidence. He told himself, I'm not someone who even tries. And the more you repeat that, the more it becomes who you are. And that's how people slowly shrink their own lives. Not because they can't grow, but because they don't give themselves a chance. And then there was Alex, same environment, same level, same starting point, but one key difference. Alex didn't overthink. He wasn't more talented. He wasn't more confident. He just took action. He entered the same competition. First time he failed, it was awkward. People laughed, but he didn't stop. Second time, he improved. Third time, he won. And Ryan watched all of it silently, with one question echoing in his head. What if I had tried? And that question is one of the most painful things you'll ever carry because it never gets answered. What if I started earlier? What if I took that risk? What if I believed in myself? And people spend years, entire lifetimes, stuck in that loop, thinking about the life they could have had instead of building the one they still can. Time kept moving. Opportunities came and went, and every single time, Ryan chose comfort over growth, overthinking over action, safety over possibility, and slowly his life didn't fall apart. It just stopped moving. And one day, sitting alone in his room, with his phone next to him, silence all around, he looked back at his life and realized something terrifying. He hadn't made big mistakes, but he hadn't made bold moves either. He hadn't failed, but he hadn't grown. He had spent so much time trying to avoid risk that he accidentally risked his entire life. And that's when it hit him. The real problem was never overthinking. The real problem was that he let his thoughts control him instead of controlling his thoughts. And this is where everything changes. Because the truth is simple. Your life is shaped by your decisions, and overthinking stops you from making them. It delays you, confuses you, drains you until you stay exactly where you are. And the way out isn't complicated, but it's uncomfortable. You have to act before you feel ready. You have to accept imperfect decisions. You have to risk failing, because action creates clarity, while overthinking creates fear. Remember this: action builds confidence, not the other way around. And if you feel stuck right now, start small. The next time your mind spirals, don't sit there analyzing. Take action within 5 seconds, something small. Anything, because action is the bridge between who you are and who you could become. Now imagine this: 1 year from today, there are two versions of you. One who kept overthinking, kept delaying, kept doubting, and one who took action. Even when it was uncomfortable, one is filled with regret, the other with growth. The question is, which one do you want to become? Because the decision you make right now is quietly shaping that future. So don't wait. Don't overthink this. Start. And if you want more real stories that don't just motivate you, but actually change how you think and act, make sure you subscribe, hit like, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Because the next video might just be the turning point you've been waiting for. And remember, time is passing anyway. You can either keep thinking about your life, or you can start building it. The choice has always been yours.